you can't help someone in need. So in this video, I will guide you along the journaling process to check in with yourself, to increase your self-awareness, assess your energy, and align with the source of unconditional love. And if you're new to me, my name is Robin Knott, and I'm your host of Energy Healing TV and podcast on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify, and the founder of theenergyhealingschool.com. And I'd like to welcome you to what I call the self-love movement because it is my deepest belief if we all loved ourselves enough, suicide wouldn't be a thing. So we show up for ourselves, we're checking in, we're making sure we're okay. So if you have your journal, go grab it and come journal with me. So how we do the journaling process, again, I like to get my mind focused. And I write out Energy Healing Lifestyle Journal just to get myself started, know what I'm looking at, what I'm working on, what I'm opening myself up to, because healing is a lifestyle. Then I write out the self-care challenge. Again, it's an acronym for me, right? So today is the letter C, and in my acronym, the C stands for communication. So then I write that as well, communication. In my system of best you, today's letter would be the letter Y for you, your truth, how we speak our truth, right? Excuse me. And then the energy in the throat chakra. Excuse me. So then next I write out the journal prompt. How do you communicate when you can't help someone in need? Lots of things came up. There are so many things we can unpack with this question. So I'm just going to throw out some ideas or some things that might come up because just let your mind flow. It may be direct, it may be indirect. Again, you may have more questions that come up to try to help narrow down some of your beliefs, really, your perspectives about it, or what might come into your awareness to answer that question. Because there are certain situations that could vary, right? So I have two different avenues as well. So we have how we communicate with others, like in that moment of when we're learning or hearing that someone is in need. And then we also have how we talk to ourselves. So let's recap a little bit on communication styles. Our communication styles may be assertive when we're able to explain our points of view, our wants, our needs, our responses very clearly in a space of love, if you will, just meaning that there's no malice behind it. There's no icky, heavy energy that comes with it. We're just speaking and sharing and talking. We may communicate aggressively and or passively, but then also incorporating our listening styles as well. Are we listening actively or reactively? So are we listening to hear everything as the person describes it? Do we listen to ourselves all the way through, or do we listen reactively? We for that aha moment, I knew it moment, I gotcha moment, like selective hearing. I'm only hearing the parts that I want to hear, and that I kind of hesitate even saying that because subconsciously want to hear. Might be thinking I didn't want to hear that at all, but there's just this piece of us that almost has an expectation. So we're just waiting. We're just waiting for that thing. So then is there a difference between, so in communicating, if someone is talking to us or when we're sharing with others, is there a difference between sharing, like talking about a challenge or a difficulty or something that we need, versus asking for help? So there's that, right? Because sometimes when we're bummed out because we can't help someone in need, it's possible there are times when they didn't even really ask us to help them in that way, in the way that we thought they were, right? So the way that we're listening and that we're processing what we're hearing or what we're seeing. So meaning, ask yourself, have you ever just talked with someone, just kind of felt like you needed to vent or needed to share or needed to process out loud? Just kind of wanted someone to hear you or just share that space with you while you process through it. So there's a difference between that and directly asking for help, right? Can you help me do ABC, can you help me? Or I need food. Can you give me some food kind of thing? There's a difference in that. And I want to point that out because, as you know, we have this tendency of assuming that when someone needs something, that we are supposed to jump in and provide that need. We're supposed to jump in and rescue. We're supposed to jump in and fix it, right? Excuse me. So checking that first, just the communication, make sure that we're hearing and understanding correctly. What is the person actually asking for? Am I actually asking you to pay the bill? Just throwing something out there. Am I actually asking you to pay the bill? Or am I just asking you to be an ear, to hold space so that I can process my fears around not being able to pay the bill, or processing my how-tos? How am I going to resolve this issue? How am I going to find my way so that I can pay my own bill, right? There's differences in that. What else? Checking my journal, as we do. So then in those moments too, just checking in with our own reactions or responses. When someone asks for help and we're not able to, or we feel like we can't, we think they're asking for that direct help to fix or resolve the need. Do we then get defensive? Because we beat ourselves up with blame, shame, and guilt because you're supposed to help people. You're supposed to jump in and resolve this issue. You're supposed to help those in need. And then how does that then affect our communication style? Because if I'm feeling defensive, I'm probably not going, I tend to not speak then more assertively. Excuse me. I either get aggressive or passive. And I don't mean aggressive like wanting to fight aggressive, but like that harsher, in my defense, right? I'm fighting to defend myself kind of aggressive communication. Or again, that passiveness of wanting to retreat. So then the self-talk, what happens then with the justifications, and I'm personalizing and feeling defensive? What am I saying to myself? What are my thought processes? Am I beating myself up? Is that where the blame, shame, and guilt come in? And again, if that's what's happening quietly in my own mind, then what am I likely to project back out? How would my communication style be affected then? It can become a vicious cycle, right? What I'm telling myself, I project out, then creates a whole nother wave of energy, if you will, to come back toward me to repeat that cycle. So if you watched the video before this one, we talked about free will and accountability too, and how that comes into play, and just bringing in that perspective, bringing in that energy, because there's truth to it, right? And that benefit of evolution, evolving through our own human experiences, and what a gift that is, and how beautiful that is. And when we or someone else jumps in to do the rescuing and do the fixing and tries to take over, then we actually interfere with other people's journeys. We interfere with their ability to have their own, I'm calling it evolution, if you will, right? I know there's another word for it, but evolution is one that's been sticking in my head. If you're thinking out another one, you can drop it in the comments and share that. Let me know what you think about that, though. So then if we carry that energy of, I'll show up and hold the space, and I'll be supportive, and maybe I'll have a conversation with you, and efforts to help you problem solve to see what's going to work best for you without trying to jump in, take over, and fix it, right? Because sometimes too, when you jump in, take over to fix it, then the other person can feel like disempowered, right? We disempower, we take their power away because you can't do it. You need me to fix it for you. And I know we're not saying that. However, it can certainly come off that way. And again, then we are interjecting and kind of blocking the process in the flow towards personal evolution. What do you think? When you think of, so next in the journaling process here was bringing that in. When you think of the free will and accountability, when you think of the gift of personal evolution, does that help shift the energy? Does that ease the energy of blame, shame, or guilt? Does that ease the idea that we became responsible somehow to take over because a need exists? So if the energy is shifted, how now will we communicate? Can we communicate a little more with love and compassion? Can we listen more actively and hear everything all the way through, because we're not trying to selectively, reactively listen for those moments that we have to jump in and take over, or that we have to jump in and defend ourselves? And how does that affect the self-talk too? Can we feel good about, let's set this down. Can we feel good about showing up and holding space? Can we feel good about empowering other people in their own journey versus feeling responsible to make everything perfect? And I know we say, no, there's no such thing as perfect. Yet sometimes we try, don't we? We add the pressure, the expectation, thinking we have to do it. That's a lot. But that's what we do, isn't it? So thank you for joining me. Again, let me know in the comments what came up for you in your journaling process. What comes up for you when you think of your communication styles and how you communicate when you're not able to help someone in need. And again, I know there's differences. It depends on what the need is and who it is and what your situation is and why you're able to help and not. But just sharing some different perspectives so that we can heal along the way too, right? Our self-care, don't forget, you guys, our self-care helps us help others too. It's the ripple effect. We always say it starts within, but then we avoid and ignore ourselves. So it starts here so that what we're projecting out is a cleaner form of energy, if you will. We can project out more love and compassion and less judgment and less criticism and less blame, shame, and guilt, right? So hope you're taking care of you and for the collective, because we are as one, right? So homework, as always, continue to check in with yourself and journal on your awareness, just whatever comes up. Again, it's not blame, shame, and guilt. It's just to bring it into our awareness. We don't tend to make any type of change, or don't even know we need to, quote unquote, until we're aware. So allowing it to come into our awareness, assess the energy. If it's not already in alignment with the source of unconditional love, what is that one thing you can do to move into alignment with the source of unconditional love? And as always, if you haven't already, sign up for the Empathic Healers Masterclass, a step-by-step guide to set boundaries and protect your energy. If you are interested in that link, let me know and I will drop it in the comments. If you've noticed, I'm using a different streaming thing. So hopefully it looks and sounds clear. If I don't like it, I'll go back to StreamYard, but trying it out. Tomorrow, meet me back here and we will talk about acceptance and observer mode and third eye chakra. I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, whatever time in the world it is for you. So much love.